When I first start composing for a film, I usually read through the script and I think overall, not what is the feeling I want the viewers to have while watching the film. I think, what do they want to carry away from this film? What is the emotion I want them to have once the credits are rolling? When it comes to scoring scene for scene, starting with the first one usually, that's when I really think, okay, what do I want the viewers to be feeling while they're watching the film? So I start off watching the scene and I look for unanswered questions, things that maybe the character are trying to figure out or something like that. And I enhance that feeling with the score. First of all, I gotta figure out, does music even need to be here? Because sometimes it's better to be silent. It's better to sound like you're in the conversation with them rather than outside looking in.
Go draw or whatever it is that you do all day.
Could we play a video game together?
No. I just want some peace and quiet.
This film definitely had something very interesting that I've never actually done before. There are two songs, one by Jordan Felice, one by Phil Wickham, that played in two different scenes in the movie. I had to take the score and actually change the key right before then to make a seamless transition from the score to song, so that when you're listening, you don't actually even realize that a song is starting to play because it sounds like it's part of the soundtrack until you hear the actual song start. Another interesting thing is motifs and different themes that you have for the characters or different elements of the story. For example, there is actually a theme that plays that I call the Timmy theme. And this is basically, it represents the relationship between Liam and Timmy.
Hey, Liam!
Not now, Timmy.
But I want to show you the...
Timmy! I said not now. It's just so annoying. You guys.
And then you hear a bit of a happier tone of the theme playing when there's the reconciliation.
I apologize for the way I've been treating you. I haven't been nice to you at all, especially since the accident. So I wanted to say I'm sorry.
And then also the main theme is actually the melody climbing down. And that is the theme I start with. This is basically the lost theme. This is when Liam is kind of lost in life.
Really hurt, son. The injuries are a lot more than we had expected.
No, because God is the only one that could have supposedly prevented this. But here I am. If God does exist, he doesn't care about me.
And you hear the alternative theme climbing up when he is saved, and it plays at different points when he is hearing the good news for the first time.
Lord, you said you would walk with me all the way, every step. But I noticed that during the most difficult times in my life.
So, as for the different sounds and instruments I use in the score, I think the most memorable one that you might recall is the arpeggio in the background, the different synth noises. I chose that one because not only did I think of Liam more as a cool guy, and kind of the techie noise reminds me of a cool guy, it was also, it sounded like running to me. So you actually hear the arpeggio playing in important times when he's taking a step forward in life. You hear this emptiness where it's just strings and piano after the time of the wreck to the time where he asks Jamie about being a journalist.
You said you're a journalist?
So another thing you might have noticed is a somewhat random guitar plays when Jamie is talking about how she grew up believing there was no God. This is kind of a small detail, but I decided to go with the guitar because it struck me as a nostalgic instrument. And she's talking about, the way she grew up and stuff like that. So I felt like it was important for Jamie's character, even if it wasn't, this big deal for the whole movie. Still something pretty interesting I did. A lot of people ask what the most challenging scene for a movie is. And with every step, the most challenging scene was probably the wreck scene, because the whole movie is a pretty serious movie, but there's not any action or anything like that. You know, it's more of a drama. But the accident scene where he actually gets hit by the car, it had to kind of change the tone without changing the overall, like, I didn't want this to sound out of place. So I used the arpeggio that I talked about earlier to show that he's running, and this is the last time he would be running. And so I added some strings to add maybe a more intense feel to it, and just builds up to the moment with the crash. Every Step is an amazing short film, and I recommend you check it out. As far as short films goes, it kind of feels like you're watching a movie. And personally, the message was very important to me as I was sitting there composing the score itself for it. That what really defines you in life? Like, if I were to go deaf and lose my hearing, would I feel like my life is over? Would I feel like I have nothing else in life? Would I feel like God has let me down? Or is my life trusting that God is with me every step, every score that I write? It was very touching to me to watch this film while composing the music for it and remembering not to take this gift of music for granted.